Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick is here. He'll be back in just a second. Great show for you today. Obviously, the earnings parade continues. Alibaba this morning. We're going to talk about that Clorox report. Holy cow. Did you guys see that? I want to talk all about that. We got Under Armour as well. Take-Two Interactive yesterday. We got more stuff happening in China with regards to potential regulations, more headlines there. I want to talk about this T-Bio report overnight. There he is. We have an offering from Lee Auto, LI. Dennis, good morning.
What's up?
Man,
running around
today. We got Jerremy Newsome at 8:35, and then at 9, I'm bringing on someone that I am very excited to talk to, Dan Weiskopf. He's the portfolio manager at Toroso Investments. He's the co-PM of the Blockchain ETF, or BLOK. He's someone that I look up to for his ETF knowledge. He's also a strategist at the ETF Think Tank, and he'll be on at 9 o'clock to talk ETFs with me. And yeah, so smash the like, hit subscribe, do all that good stuff. Joel, bring up your charts if you can and tell us how we're doing on this lovely Tuesday morning.
All right. Good morning, traders, investors. Real quick, I just want
I forgot to mention the event. I'm sorry.
Yeah. On August 21st from 9 till noon, you get Triple D and I's undivided attention for 3 hours. It's always important to look at the markets when they're not open. Just a little bit of our routines, things that look for after hours and pre-market, as well as some long-term. It's introduction to professional trading, but I don't know. Maybe it should be introduction to professional investing, because we always talk about a lot of different time frames.
Well, we're talking both time frames. We'll be talking all time frames: long-term investing, swing trading, day trading. We'll be talking it all.
And I'll do my 15 minutes of preparation, and then we'll have Dennis and also Rob Friesen will be joining us from Stock Odds. And man, he's been pointing out some really interesting things that we talk about. It's funny, we talk about it on the show, and then boom, I'm on with him at 10:30, and he mentions the same things. But let's get to the markets here. Let's take a look at the futures. Week close, and boom, right back up, folks. Here we are trading up 15 handles at 94.75, 97 and a quarter pre-market high. We haven't even seen the close yet at 81, 34.81. So a good start to the morning, but you know what? We had a good start yesterday too, and look what happened. Crude down 8 cents at 71.18. Gold hanging out above 1,800, but it's down 870 at 1813 and a half. Silver down 7.5 cents at 25.50. Bitcoin, you know that Amazon rally, the top of the trading range, the $100 tip from the guy. Did you hear we got a $100 tip yesterday?
Holy.
Yeah.
I think here's what happened. I think is
Wrong show.
No, I think he was just some guy, and he on Twitter, because I think I saw him on tagged me. He put out a tweet. He was like, tag 3 people on and someone tagged like Benzinga, and so he hopped on our show and just dropped us a couple hundred and then dipped. I think is what happened.
Really?
I think he was
Guy.
I think he was just giving away money. I don't know.
Nice guy.
Wowzer. But anyways, Bitcoin, that's down. Let's call it $1,200 at 37.97, and Ethereum giving some back. That's down $133 at 24.77. So my main question for you, Triple D, this morning is: I see the SPOs are up 0.34%.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I see Tesla, but can you give me like a half dozen other stocks that are trading up? I mean, they're random, but I'm looking at Microsoft flat.
Yeah, not
Apple,
tech. Not
yeah,
tech.
not tech. So where's
Not
the
tech.
strength today?
It's somewhat the reopening trade, which they sold yesterday, but you are seeing some strength in the banks. You are seeing some strength in the IWM. So your small caps, 0.7%, you're up on the IWM. This is a complete repeat of yesterday where the IWM was showing strength. Tech was not showing that much strength. Really, everything just started rolling over eventually, though, and then we obviously ended up closing red. I think today is another selling opportunity. I'll be honest. The IWM candle from yesterday in the small caps, you had a key reversal. We made a new high and then closed and made a new low, lower than the previous day's range. Not huge reversal, but enough to take note. Now you get back up into that range. You got people caught from yesterday, maybe thinking, oh, yeah, I'm going to start nibbling my toe in some of these reopening plays, and then they pulled the rug out from all of them in the afternoon. And I think that continues. So I think if you're getting a bounce in some of those reopening names, I think you have to sell. And I think the reason for that still is I think the Delta wave is still just getting started.
And what about the overall reaction to earnings? I mean, I'm not just talking from the big tech, right? Because they led us up here, right? So are they going to lead us down? I mean, Apple, whatever. It was a pretty good report, right? Boom. They couldn't take out the 150. Mr. Softy, I mean, when you guys want me to stop talking about 290, holy mackerel. Back on 728, I said a quadruple top. It got through there in the pre-market and after hours, but there's just a wall there. Amazon got Amazon here. Good call by Triple D. It did hold yesterday's low, so if you have a reference, you have a reference point here. Google, I mean, that ran like crazy, but boom, that 2,800 it hit a roadblock, and then Facebook, had just a tremendous run into the report, and now it's given some back. So overall, the reactions to good earnings reports has not been super positive.
And it's not just the tech. It was in the banks.
Sure.
It's been in a number of stocks
here.
Yeah.
Good point.
And then you're seeing the consumer staples. And I know Procter & Gamble did okay, but man, you are seeing cost inflation hitting some of the major companies. We have to go to the Clorox story. That's got to be one of the biggest down moves for Clorox ever. I can't remember the last time I saw Clorox down 11%. This is a stock that typically moves around 1 or 2%. I know during COVID times last year was really getting some pops, but I mean, you look at this thing, I actually, when it was down this much, I had to go and look at the reports. I was skimming through it this morning. They cite cost inflation in multiple places, saying their margin is going to be squeezed by as much as 300 to 400 basis points for at least the next quarter until they can start to figure out how to pass on some of these costs. But they've got the input costs that are hitting them. And then it's not only that, it's sales are starting to come in because people were loading up on Clorox during the pandemic or loading up on their cleaning products. And you know what? They're stocked up and they're not buying as much here right now. So perfect storm for Clorox. Sales going down, margins getting squeezed, lots of bad stuff happening here. I had this in my portfolio for a little bit. I sold it out, thank goodness, because it's down $20 today. People would be coming in and saying, wow, how can you go wrong buying Clorox down $20? But I never like to buy on day one, and I'll tell you, it was a disaster of a report.
Joel, why don't you bring up your charts while I read what
I haven't brought them up. I got them. It says stop sharing.
No, you don't.
Okay, I'll stop sharing.
Yeah. Anyway, Q4 earnings per share, 95 cents is what Clorox made last quarter versus a $1.36 estimate. Sales also missed, as Dennis said, 1.8 versus $1.92 billion. Here's some more details. Sales declined 9.2% year over year. There we go. We got the charts up. Fall in sales driven by deceleration of shipments from peak levels during the pandemic. Including a more than expected deceleration in the health and wellness segment, in which revenues fell 17% year over year. Households fell 8% year over year. Lifestyle 3%. International actually grew 5% year over year. Gross profit declined. Here's a quote. The fiscal year 21 was an extraordinary year for Clorox, with the pandemic putting us through the test of volatility, including rapid changes in consumer demand and inflationary pressure. Like they're saying, it's going to be impossible to continue that. Here are some guidance. So those are all backward-looking numbers. Let's give you some forward-looking stuff. That's more important, right? Fiscal year 22 adjusted EPS guidance in a range of, call it mid $5, right? $5.40 to $5.70. Estimate was up in the $7 range, $7.67.
That's those margins get squeezed.
So they expect a 2 to 6% decline in sales year over year for the fiscal year. But again, it's just like Dennis said. I mean, it's demand going back to normal, and so I guess inflationary pressures. I guess they can't pass it all down to the consumer.
They can. They just can't do it all at once. I mean, I think that's what a lot of these companies are going to struggle with. It's one thing, but some of these input costs on them are up substantially. You can't pass on a 50% if you have some of your products. And I'm not. They didn't break it down, but I'm sure there's some of their input, chemicals and stuff that have went up, maybe more than 50%.
Yeah.
It's hard to just pass that on. You can't just jack it from like $10 to $15 overnight. You can jack it up a little bit, but over time they'll catch it up. But right now it's hard. It's hard to just, when you're seeing inflation like that, and we know it's maybe just transitory, but that's what the Fed says, but we know it might not be too. So it's not just the little guy getting hit. Big companies are getting squeezed here too with inflationary pressures.
Yeah.
Do you want an 8-star today?
Yeah, give me the best level of all levels.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
155.77.
Why?
February low of 2020, 154.88.
They're back the entire pandemic run.
Yes.
The entire thing.
And March low was 156.68.
We don't need Clorox anymore. We're getting past Delta. But you know what?
I was going to say that. And I didn't think that was appropriate to say. But
what? One thing, though, is they found out as we went further in the pandemic. And remember, Clorox just got ridiculously jacked back in March and April when it went from $160 to $214 overnight. They figured out that, people weren't getting COVID from surfaces. They weren't getting COVID from touching things. They were getting COVID from breathing other people's air particles. So, I mean, that's where Clorox, had the ridiculous run. And I think, people have realized just because they wipe down their countertops, it's not going to keep their restaurant open. It's not going to, keep them from getting COVID. It's not what's on the table. It's what's in the air. And I think that's, why Clorox has somewhat been a victim of this to a certain extent now, because, people, are starting to get that. They're not thinking it's on surfaces, and they're not just going out and buying all the Clorox they can possibly get because we need to kill every germ that's out there. I mean, I was wiping down all my groceries back in March and April too.
Many people mentioned that to me recently.
And I never, and just look, so, just to give you, even with the cold or a flu, like I'm fighting a little bit of a cold because I went out for the first time in a year and a half and socialized at a campground, and 10 out of the 13 people got sick. Here we were, for the last year doing click and collect, other people touching our stuff. Click and collect is like that's what they call it, at least in
we got it.
Same thing. Well, I didn't know if they call it the same thing though, but anyways, they call it our superstore click and collect. So you have other people physically touching your food, putting it in there. So in the first month back in March 2000, I was wiping it all down with Clorox wipes. Well, then studies keep coming out. It's like you're not getting it from the surfaces. So all these times I've had these Clorox, all these times that I was wiping it down wasn't helping, because then I went the next year, didn't wipe anything down, didn't get sick. Go out for 1 week, somebody sneezes on you the wrong way and you get sick. So it's obvious, that you're getting this from the air, you're not getting it from surfaces. So I think that does affect it as well.
All right, I mistook when you said about getting the Delta variant, because I thought you were talking about the vaccine.
What?
Okay, Joel's went on a tangent here that we do not follow.
Some people will get that. Some people
all right,
will get
moving
that.
on.
It's going back a while. Some
right,
people,
tough
some
joke.
smart people in the chat will get it.
Okay. Anyway,
That one both went by me.
Oh my God, we got a step down seller right now. I don't know who or she is, but yeah, step down seller. Pre-market low 160.61. Boy, oh boy. I mean, if you're short, or if you're, you feel like you want to cover today, note that pre-market low, and then see if we just keep wherever it's going to be.
If you're short, you're a genius.
If you're short, you're a genius. But see where that ahead of my. I don't think we're going to see my 155.78. But maybe, I mean, anything can happen. But I'm just saying,
just fell $20. You fall under 5, it can. That's why I always let the dust settle.
Yep.
Let the dust settle. Because you know what? Yeah, this could be square. It isn't square, I'll tell you that. Where it turns around on a dime. I never liked to buy on day one. I did not buy on square on day one, even though I was kind of liking it down to the 230 area. I want another low, and it just completely reversed. You're not going to see this in this report. It's not going to pull a full reversal and be up to $10. I mean, this is a bad enough report that it's going to have a lasting effect on people who are in the stock. They're like, wow, I did not see that coming. So that's why I don't think there's a hurry to buy Clorox.
PG came off too. I mean, this took Colgate, Palmolive. Boom. That got whacked yesterday, if you were following that into the report. And what else falls in here, Dennis? What else do you like to group with these stocks? Colgate, PG, Clorox. What else? Anything else you can throw in there?
Church and
KMB. But again, Procter & Gamble has already reported.
True.
So that helps them, so it won't get hit as hard, because we already know that they actually were okay through it on the input costs, at least. KMB is down. KMB is still due to report? Must be. Down a buck.
I can tell you.
It might have reported when it went down to 130.
It may have.
Yeah, it did. It
did. Anyways, Kimberly-Clark is down a buck. I wouldn't want to own Procter & Gamble just because, right now it's trading flat here. But, I mean, Clorox down 20. Procter & Gamble going to stay green? Whew, I don't know. I don't know who's buying it flat, but...
Not me. Not you.
Not me. I have no position in it.
No position either.
Should we talk? Let's talk China. Let's talk Alibaba here. So I went to the earnings release, and I did a Control F for the word regulation or regulatory or anything like that. Found 5 instances of 5 mentions of the word, but all generic. Basically, there was nothing in the report about anything that's happened in the past couple of weeks. And I even cross-checked it against the press releases from the last quarter and the last 3 quarters just to see it. But no, there was nothing special in the press release with regards to anything in the last few weeks. They did beat on their EPS, missed on their sales, and added a $5 billion buyback. So the numbers are going to be what they are. I guess maybe I would expect something on the call. The call is going on right now. Maybe they're saying something. I don't know. I would certainly hope so, but then again, maybe not. Regardless, what's the stock doing this morning?
It had to pop and to drop. We got up over yesterday's high. Saw it pop to 203.38. Now down to $1.15. Keep eye on that closing price from yesterday after trading up to 203. I'm sure a lot of people would like to see that. The close 2009. So nice pop off that low. Yesterday's lows down to 196 and a quarter, and that was right with Friday's highs. So 196, 2009. There's some levels for you in Alibaba.
I mean, Baba just, we can look at levels, you can look at this, but it matters what is happening in China. Politics matter to every Chinese stock right now. Just ask Tencent, Spencer, bring us into Tencent. Because it's getting hit over in Hong Kong. It's down 6%. All the gaming makers, games are getting hit on this too.
Joel, why don't you bring up NetEase, NTES, because that one does trade here in the U.S. And so here's the situation: is there is an article that's been deleted. It's been taken down now, but it was published in the state-owned Chinese newspaper. But essentially criticizing video games, called video games opium for the mind. And again, it's been removed. So you can't find it now. But just the article alone, again from the state-owned paper, is enough to spook everybody now. So that maybe video games are the next target, because we don't really know, what kind of signals that they're sending or not sending. So anyway, NetEase and Bilibili are the two big ones that trade in the U.S. actively. Yeah. There are many more, obviously, but that don't trade actively in the U.S. Tencent is the big one. They're not in the U.S. I mean, they are, but they're on OTC markets, and there's a bunch of other names that don't trade in the U.S.
Tencent's down 6% in Hong Kong. Down 6%.
Roblox does have some exposure to China. So
Roblox getting hit a little bit here. Not good for any of the gaming makers, really. But I mean, like you said, Bilibili, BILI, NTES, all getting hit. It just seems like there's another disaster coming out of China because of political issues every day. I mean, it seems like you're just punished. So you had this ridiculous rally in NetEase. I mean, this is just going to show you, like, the FOMO just sometimes takes over. We're going to talk TBIO in a minute, too, to tell you how much the FOMO takes over. Don't let the FOMO take over. I mean, here you got NetEase, NTES, 120, 110, 115. Absolutely collapses in 3 days. Goes from 115, you go at the charts and looking at that, all the way down to $82. That's a huge collapse. What's it do? Next 4 days gets almost all of it back. Who's buying that up at 105 now? That is a selling opportunity. If I would have saw that chart. Now it's back down to 95. I mean, there's so many things to worry about here. And, here's the stock. If you're coming in, and like I said, buying it after it's just rallied from $82 to 105 in 4 days, you are absolutely doing it backwards. It's a 30% move in 4 days. That's a complete snapback of the entire loss in an environment where people probably still are going to be reluctant to own Chinese stocks. So the same thing with Baba. I mean, I own some Baba, but it's had a pretty good bounce, but nothing like that NetEase one. Bilibili, similar story, but not as big of a bounce, and now it's trying to go down and take out its lows of the move. So it's tough to own China stocks right now.
Well, also, and I was discussing this with someone over the weekend in Invest. It's like you don't know what the next headline is, and they were nice yesterday, right? We're discussing with U.S. regulators about IPOs. Oh, nice, talking nice, right? Boom, these stocks rally today. Wow, so you don't know what I mean. You don't know which way it's going to turn. I guess you just got to, when there's good news coming out of there, you got to fade it. And bad news, I don't know. That was 3 days in a row. Or, 1, 2,
We're getting
3,
hit on
4.
oil right now.
What's going on? I know the SPOOs are faded
getting hammered on oil.
Let's go to the crude chart.
We were trading up. We were up. We literally just fell $1 on the US. So not like hammered for day traders, but people always say, "Oh yeah,
no, that's a big 2%. Move."
But that's a big move, just in the last minute. So I'm not sure what just happened.
There's some news. Come on, Spencer.
That's got to be something.
News me.
Yeah,
There's got to
okay.
be some news. Look at that. It oiled. Boom, boom. This is a one. No, that's a 15-minute. Let's go till 1 minute and see what Triple D. Come on, 1 minute. Boom. Why not? What's wrong with you? You're not working. 15-minute and 1 minute. There you go. This is going there. 1 minute, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes. We've lost $1. That's a big move.
It's a big move.
And the spoos are going right along with it in the toilet.
Yeah, something happened. Somebody said something with oil.
China.
I'll tell you that.
Something with China. Hold on a second.
Something with China again.
Yeah, I'm looking at 10 different screens at once.
China lockdown?
Well, that's been talked already, though, the China lockdown.
Hold on.
China's locking down because they said they had 270 cases. We know you probably throw like 3 zeros on that because they always seem to underreport. But I mean, 270 cases. We're getting, it's a joke. But
God, I don't know. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm looking here, but I don't see anything.
Okay, something happened with oil, so we'll try to find that news for you there. But it got absolutely just hammered here in the last 5 minutes. We were trading up. USO was green.
It was
10 minutes ago, and we just dropped $1. So something happened.
I don't know.
But I wanted to go on to the FOMO. So we're talking like the FOMO and the Chinese stocks. Go bring up TBIO. Yeah. This is just unbelievable FOMO. And you gotta, if you learn anything, chasing stocks is just, sometimes you make money, most of the time you don't. And, I've learned that the hard way. I learned that back to 1999 when I started at Bright Trading. And I've told this story before. And we had this guy beside us, they called him Radar. And he chased every move, man, and he'd lose, and he'd lose, and he'd lose. And I was like learning from him, and I hope he eventually figured it out as well. But in the beginning, like we were two rookies just trading, and you see something going, you're like, oh, I got to hop on that train. And what's it do? It turns around and starts going down on you. Then you hop on the next train. This day trading, it's a Bright Trading. So I mean, last night in TBIO, this stock gets a report from Reuters that Sanofi's going to make a bid for the company. They buy this from $29.15 to $35 to $40 to $45 to $50 to $56. Somebody's paying up 100% for the stock on a rumor. Nothing was confirmed. No price was confirmed. Nothing. This morning comes out. Price is confirmed. Sanofi buying Translate Bio for $38. So somebody is paying up 100%, and they get the takeover. And the stock only ends up going up 30%. That's a quick way to lose half of your money by paying $56. So again, just chasing and saying 56, maybe they're going to get 100. Well, it's like when we were talking the Kathy stocks before, and people are paying up 20% on Roblox because Kathy Wood bought some. I mean, it doesn't. Some things just, the risk reward. Maybe it does. I mean, maybe it does get a crazy bid, but in all likelihood, maybe it doesn't. I mean, 100% is a huge premium. 50% is a big premium. 30% is a good premium. So, obviously some shareholders very disappointed here now all of a sudden because people were paying $56 for this last night and it gets taken over at 38. That's a done deal. So you bought at 56, you're done. It's out. That's it. You're down. It's not coming back. It's done. The deal is $38. So you're seeing that risk arbs come in at $37.74 for the time value of money, and then that's it. But I mean, you got to just watch just randomly chasing stocks. And chasing them up 100%. I mean,
without a price.
Without a price, and we see this on these, smaller cap stocks where they're getting promoted on, different social media platforms, and they go up like 100% a day. And then we have our chat asking about these stocks. I feel sorry for the people because most of these stocks that are getting pumped on social media platforms are not very good companies. And, some of them go up like 50, 100, 200%, and people are paying up. And some people are making money, but a lot of people are left holding the bag. And, this is, just chasing stocks is such a good way to just lose money. And TBIO, people punished for that last night.
We don't talk about AMC anymore. When's the last time AMC or GME?
Well, I mean, AMC is still holding on. It's impressive to itself. We don't talk about AMC because if I say anything negative about it, I get 100 people tweeting at me that I'm an idiot. So, okay. I mean, Kramer just keeps it up. He's the one that, he's out of full on battle, with the apes, it seems like, with Reddit, with everything. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It hasn't made any sense for a long time, but it's disconnected from fundamentals, meaning price can still go anywhere. I don't like it on the chart. I still think AMC is eventually going to be a $10 stock again. I've been on the record saying that. But I mean, it has, it can do anything. I'm not short the stock. It's disconnected from fundamentals, and price disconnects from fundamentals. It can go anywhere. If the story gets hot again, if it starts to take off, it gets back above 40, the thing could be back up about 50 or 60. So, but until it can get back up over 40, if you're long that thing right now, is a lot of risk. I know it's nice to say, okay, yeah, we're just going to take the stock higher and pump it up as much as we can and get to 100 or 200. Or somebody was putting in my timeline, it's going to 1,000. I mean, a lot of that is just wishful thinking. When it comes down to it, the fundamentals on it don't make any sense at all. But I'm not short the stock because it's disconnected from fundamentals. We've got GameStop's been disconnected from fundamentals for a long time. And, I think eventually it reconnects, but I don't know when that is. And it could be, the path to get to the reconnection to fundamentals could be a long time, which we can see in a stock like AMC. So, it's just not even worth talking about.
So we call them Radar after the MASH guy, right?
I don't know why they were calling him Radar. That was the kid that was sitting beside me. He was a super nice kid, but he was just chasing everything. Maybe he was really young. I don't know how he got the nickname. Yeah, he was there like a month before I was, so somebody already.
I think it's because he was like, remember Radar from MASH? Remember that show MASH?
No, but tell us about. I do remember the show MASH, but I never watched.
Spencer,
MASH.
You definitely don't.
He never watched MASH.
I've seen MASH. I've seen the show.
So who was Radar? Tell us about Radar.
He was the guy that was worked in like the control room, and he had to keep his eyes on every
that's why.
Yeah.
He had his eyes on everything. He actually had good looking at this, looking at that. It's kind of. But the problem he had when he was sitting beside. I mean, like I said, maybe he figured it out. I know he left the company, like shortly after he started, but maybe he figured it out at another firm. I don't know, but I mean, just coming in and chasing moves. I was like watching. I was like, oh wow, I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot by watching this guy because he's chasing and losing. Yep. And then I was doing the same thing. I mean, it's natural instinct when you start trading. You want to get into what's hot. You're like, oh, well, this is going. I better get into this, or this is going. I better get into this. And you start realizing that, it's all waves, though, right? So when you're already jumping in, and the wave, the train's already left the station, you jump on that moving train. It's tough. Everything trades, and everything in the whole world is like waves, really. You get the COVID waves too, but I mean, you get the wave of buyers, and then you got a wave of sellers, and then you wave of buyers. So what I like to do is buy stocks and uptrends, when they're waving but pulling back in the uptrend. I short stocks and downtrends, and I'm buying and selling on the wave up, selling a short on the wave up. So lots of different ways to trade, but chasing stocks, it's a tough way to make money.
So I think the lesson here is, if you bring it back to T-Bio, is if you see a report of a company being taken over, but you don't see a price, maybe don't buy the stock when it's already up 50.
There you go, Spencer.
Or 100%.
Well, it wasn't quite up 100. It was close, but
really close, up like 92%.
Yeah. Okay, so 50, 60, 70, 80%, 90%, whatever. Maybe don't buy it when it's already up there, when you don't know the price.
Yeah. You're giving somebody else profits is what you're doing. When you're paying up there, somebody else, the smart money, is selling it to you.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Don't let FOMO take over.
We created FOMO before there was even FOMO. I mean, how many years ago? Fear of missing out. We created that.
I don't think we created that, Joel.
Okay. All right, S&P's.
I'd like to claim credit for creating FOMO, but I think some people would have the Al Gore reference to creating the internet on us for that one, Joel.
True.
I definitely don't think we created FOMO. We've talked FOMO for years.
S&P's bouncing back a little bit. We're still, got a little bounce off 86. But you know what's not bouncing? Clorox. Look at this thing. It's just sitting here down $20, Triple D. Is there any icebergs out there?
No, I mean, I don't think it's going to bounce right back. I don't think Clorox is coming back to 170, 175 today. It was a disaster report. It's very seldom that I actually go and click into a report to actually read the report. I'm trading things. I was like, it's down so much. I haven't seen Clorox down that much in years. I actually have to just go see how bad, how bad this report is. And you go in and you read it and you're like, wow, nothing working here. And they, like I said, they didn't sugarcoat much either. So that's why it's hard to just come in here and buy it down 20. Clorox on a normal given day down 20. You're like, what are people doing? This is way overshoot. It's way, and it might be, but it was a really bad report. So I'm going to let the dust settle. This is like, just like we were talking, asteroid just hit, boom. Stock's down. Let's let the dust settle. Maybe it bounces right back, like Square, dead cat.
I was just going to mention Square.
But I do not think, we already had this conversation. I do not think this is bouncing back today.
I agree.
Might bounce back a couple bucks. Maybe it gets to 164 or 165, maybe. But it also might get to your 155 level, Joel, here. So at this point in time, it's coin flip.
Yeah.
But man, it's a bad report.
Yeah, bad. Yeah,
very bad. The summary on the Clorox thing is, and I know you guys already said this, but and you can go look at the chart from last year, is we've given back all the COVID gains, all of them.
The entire thing.
You can actually see, like, you can tell when the trade started because there's a huge volume increase in Clorox. It was like late February of last year, and that was like at 150 in the high 150s, and we're at 160 this morning, right? I mean, you've given back the gains from a pandemic on a cleaning stock.
Yep.
So, when you talk about like vacuum areas, now I know you did have a couple monthly lows in there, but pretty much, I mean, the time traded, spent trading between 160 and 180, not much. I mean, on the way up, you had it, and then it kind of been holding in there, but. Man, that we could be trading around 160 for. I mean, you don't necessarily have to go to 140 or bounce to 175. You could just, grind here at 160 for days and weeks on end until the dust settles on here. But you're right; these are your February and your March lows right here in the Clorox CLX.
All right, let's bring on Jerremy Newsome here from Real Life Trading. He's got his camera, and he's looking good, and he's got his beard.
Looks good.
Jerremy.
I absolutely love the beard when he comes on here. He's got her all cleaned up today, though. It actually is looking really good today. Jerremy, you're looking great as always, buddy. How are you?
Brother, I've missed you guys so much. You guys, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah,
well.
Cool, Jerremy, cool. So you're I hear you're adding to your position big time.
the family position? Is that the one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations too, by the way. Have you not been on the show since you announced?
Guys, it's been a while. It has been.
I don't want to have Jeremy. I had Jeremy on
regularly because he's in Spain, he's in Morocco, he's in Portugal.
He is everywhere. It's hard to get a hold of.
He's in Japan. He's in Australia.
Hard to get a hold of.
I've never been to Japan. That's a stretch. That's a stretch. I miss you guys so much. Every time I come on here, I'm exhilarated. I'm fired up. I love all of your discussions always. So thank you for allowing me to be here as usual. Appreciate it.
So what do you know what you're having?
Yep. Little boy, man.
Oh,
congratulations. So is it Joel, Dennis, or Spencer?
Dennis. I named him after Dennis, except I just named him all Dicks. Dick.
Nice. Nice.
He's getting his butt kicked in school.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, Jeremy, what are you watching out there right now? Or what are you trading? What are you doing?
Ooh, man. So I am going to be trading today. I love the Zoom info gap. I think it's really interesting.
Talk about that. Yeah.
I don't
talk to us about that. Why?
It's just clearing every single day ever of price action. So it's gapping above everything. It's never been this high except for maybe one little spike in the
back in June. Yeah.
So
how do you play that when it gaps above everything? When it gaps above, is this the gap and go candidate?
Yep, I think so. I mean, you do technically. It depends on what chart you're looking at. They had an all-time high at 64.40 on.
There you go.
Yeah, so there is going to be that little level to contend with. But my goal is I'll be watching this to pull back into like 60, and then probably looking at buying it. But this is a pretty strong gap, man. The earnings weren't bad.
So even when you get a gap and go scenario, you're still looking for a pullback to buy, though, like not just chasing it. You're looking for like the gap and then maybe a little bit of coming and then striking, as opposed to just buying at the highs.
Yeah, that'd be the best case. I like you mentioned, and I love what you said earlier, Dennis, like about chasing. I think that was a very, very good point. I don't want people to overgloss that. When you mentioned that you love buying pullbacks and uptrending companies, like trading can be that easy. Right. If you see a nice uptrending company and you're like, all right, I want to buy a pullback into a nice uptrending company. That is a smart way to make money.
Yeah. I mean, AMD gave us the classic setup we talked about 2 days ago on the show. It dropped up over $100, got up to like 105, 106, and it was pulling back with the overall market to 102. And I was like, that's the kind of stock I want to buy. Because right now it's breaking out. It's pulling back with the overall market. And
So
look
nice.
at AMD, hits 110 3 days later. So,
oh man, what a trade! Good call out, brother.
Can
So
I
good.
can I ask you something though, Jeremy? Because
Yeah, bro.
before you've mentioned you like to look at like the previous day, couple previous days trading action
Yep.
ahead of something like this. So
Yep.
if you go just on the last 2 days, you had some good buyers in there, right?
Absolutely, 100%,
So
brother.
so that doesn't that do you go with those? Because I kind of thought you're like, well, if there's, I thought you kind of looked at it as a fade. Like the people that were looking at this, they got it over the last 2 days. You think they'll be the early sellers, and then you get the pullback, or do I have your theory wrong on that?
Dude, I'm always impressed how you memorize my trading plan. With all the guests that you have on this show, you remember, you nailed it, man. That's exactly what I'm doing. That's why I'll be looking for those buyers who bought yesterday or the previous 2-3 days to probably sell a little bit at open, because they're thinking, holy smokes, I'm up 14% overnight. I didn't expect that to happen. And they'll probably lock in some gains, going into work. They're on their phone, sitting at a red light, drinking their lattes, and they're going to sell on Robinhood. And after that little dip comes in around 60, I'll look to buy it. And if it happens, that's fine. If it doesn't, I will watch it most of the day, though, for sure.
What about Robinhood?
Oh, the IPO. I don't see how it does anything much different than Coinbase, personally. It could, but it's so similar to me. There's such similar industry sectors, positions, the type of people who are going to be buying them this early, the valuations. I did like Coinbase. I use Coinbase. I'm a big fan of all the cryptos, as you guys know. Well, not all of them, sorry. I'm a big fan of trading cryptos. But I didn't want Coinbase until 220. And it did finally get down there, so I had to wait a while. I think Robinhood's a buy around 22, maybe.
whoa,
But I'm
liking it.
I'm gonna wait, guys. Yeah, I'm not super hot on it. Now, if Robinhood, what was the 3-day range? If it takes out 40.63, I mean, that's a $13 range from the IPO candle. I could maybe go long on like a quick trade or quick day trade, but I'm not buying the hype right now on Robinhood.
It's going to have to contend with 38 too, because remember the IPO price, $38. And you've got a lot of people who are marked from that point, and it's not a coincidence that yesterday's high was 37.98, and you're struggling in the pre-market to get over 38 as well. So that is a big bogey, because there's a lot of people who are sitting this in their even Robinhood accounts with a cost base of $38 saying, hey, I just got smoked on this, give me my money back.
100% correct. Now, here's a question. Do we know if Robinhood is issuing any of these shares as free stock? I don't use Robinhood, so I don't know. I didn't know if any of your traders
did. They gave any of these away for free.
That is a good question, actually. No, I don't believe so. I
never saw that.
That would be weird, I think. No, I don't think they did.
To give away, because they do give free stocks when you open an account. Like that's what Jeremy's, I think, are alluding to, is that, when you open an account, they give you like one share of, this stock, or one share of
AMC or GameStop.
Maybe it'd be interesting to give your own stock. I mean, that's probably what they should do. Hey, we'll give you open up and we'll give you some shares of our stock.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I like that. You should be a business manager there. You're managing Robinhood there, Jeremy, on the side. You give away good ideas, man.
Jeremy, what about the overall market here? I mean, we've had earnings season. We've had mostly sells off some good reports.
Yeah.
We're churning and burning. We're just if you bring up the S&Ps, I mean, you got a really defined trading range going back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This could be like the 10th session in a row. We've been in like a 40, 50 point range. Is your spiny senses giving you any? I mean, we're just gonna blow out this 43, 44, 22 and a quarter. Go to 4,500, or we just kind of, what are you looking at?
Look at that monthly chart. I mean, strong. This is so powerful. And
rotation has just kept the SPY up no matter what. It never rotates out of the market. It only rotates into another sector. And this is like the strength of equities as a whole. The Tina trade with no other place to go, no other alternative. I mean, this is why SPY just has this relentless bid, but it's crowded, Jeremy.
It is. It's very crowded. And that's what's interesting is I would love a pullback. I really would. I just don't think we're going to get one because there's so much cash on the sidelines.
Yeah,
still, there's so many people missing out. There's so many people who want in. People are talking about stocks again all over the planet.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't know. I mean, we could get maybe 2-3 months of like little sideways choppiness, but I think we just keep going higher. As insane as that
Hard to
might
get bearish.
sound, it's really, really hard to be bearish. And again, I know that there's no similarities to what we did in 1987 as far as like fundamentals are concerned. But from a technical, if I'm looking at just a chart and I'm blind to the dates, I don't know anything, COVID looks exactly like 1987 to me. And my interpretation is that we continue, right? We go higher from here. Any pullbacks will get bought, sideways chop will get bought, and we'll keep climbing.
Speaking of planetary travel, do you still have your reservation?
Virgin Galactic. I'd be one of their 7 users, I think, if I did have one.
No, I thought you tweeted out that you got on the waiting list or something.
No. My business partner did. She did. She's
How long is the
though.
waiting list? Is there a pretty good waiting list for this thing?
Not to my knowledge. Like they need anyone and everyone to get a reservation. Guys, all 4 of us collectively.
Gosh, I knew we should have worked for Jerremy. That's like $350K, right?
Guys,
to go, or is she going is she going into cargo or something?
All 4 of us make more money than Virgin Galactic.
Wait a minute. This is a business expense. This is tax deductible, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, wait till you get that business expense.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Amazing.
So
but
Jeremy,
yeah, man.
What else is on? Let's go individual stocks. We're giving you the market. What else is on your radar?
Corsair Gaming is gapping
great
down.
stock to talk about today. Disappointing earnings. Stock gapping down.
And there's really nothing stopping it. I think it could fade back up into 28, maybe 29 if it's lucky, and then get absolutely smokehoused.
So you're looking to short this?
Yeah. Yep.
Stock down, trending, looking to short pops.
I think that's what you said earlier, if I'm not mistaken.
I totally agree with that strategy. Stocks and downtrends, you short the pops, short the rips. Stocks and uptrends, you buy the dips. I mean, of course, there's clearly in a downtrend. I actually like the company. I like the fundamentals of the company, but one, you got the gaming thing not going that well, and all of a sudden,
and earnings
two,
are kind of rough.
This is a rough chart. So I've been like people are saying, when are you buying Corsair? Corsair hasn't given me a reason to buy it. And stock just keeps going down every day. So there's no sense getting down and dirty in something that just wants to keep making new lows.
Yeah, I heard. I listened to the promotions, the limited time that I'm in the car. Before they were like these big promotions, like do this, we'll give. And now I heard if you bet $50 over the next month, we'll give you a $10 bonus. And I'm like, what? I mean, there is just, I don't know. And that pen chart, I know you guys all were like, and I'm just like gaming. I just don't. I mean, people are. Unless they're just making so much money in the stock market that they can afford to lose it gambling. But man, and you do have football season coming up. But
well, Corsair is not betting. It's the other gaming.
This is video.
It's like esports. It's video games, right? So Corsair.
It's all the wear too.
Right. So you can look at here. Take-Two had earnings last night as well. They were bad. So there's that weighing on the sector this morning. But here and Corsair are like the pairs together because they both deal like gaming accessories. Here's
Sonos too. I kind of throw into that mix, and I know Sonos is entertainment, but it's there is some overlap there as well. But CRSR, and obviously the other one you just said, those are
Wall at 34 there in Sonos. Holy mackerel! Look at that. Oh, look at all those highs at 34.
I want to own Sonos too. I want to own all these, but you know what? There's no reason when they start making new lows. Like my fundamental hat says, "Oh, I want to own some Corsair." My technical hat says, "Why?" So I can't. It's all timing, right? I can't do it.
How do you determine that though, Dennis? Like, what do you look for when you go, "Oh, okay, the downtrend is over"?
Just like life. I mean, we got to get back up. So in Corsair, there's no life. Like, I mean, yesterday you had, it's trying to show life. It gets back up over $30 and immediately smacked with more sellers because there's so many people who are caught in this thing. I mean, this, that had the ridiculous Reddit pop back in June, and it's never recovered since. I think you can't even look at this until you at least get some closes over 30. So, I mean, people say, why would I buy it at 30 if I didn't want to buy it at 27?
You may never buy it.
Going down, continue to go lower. So I don't know, Jeremy. It's tough. I mean, you can like a company fundamentally, But if the stock keeps making new lows on the move, I always say when the stock's making a new low, if you're long, you got to go.
Right. That Reddit pop in June looks a lot like silver. If you guys remember, like First Majestic, AG, and SLV, they were up like 35% overnight. I'm like, that's not good. Everyone, their
pops
mom,
to sell.
Oh, exactly. Easiest shorts in the world, and then pops to sell anyone who's profitable. It looks the exact same to me.
How about I'll throw one out here from Matt Miller in the chat. Thoughts on HOFV $5 calls expiring in February?
Yeah, this is Hall of Fame Resorts. This is the NFT play, and they've also got the Hall of Fame Village.
Yeah.
Why not buy the stock at 3 if you think it's going to 5?
Yeah,
But
that's
anyways,
what I would, no. That's what I would do. Essentially, I mean, it's a fun bet if you're going to be buying $5 calls. I just don't see any real reason to do so. I would just buy the shares because the risk reward's a lot better. And the question is, will the stock go higher? Maybe.
yeah, and if you pay
possibly.
30 cents for it, then you need the thing to go to 5.30. I mean,
at a minimum, just to break even.
Exactly.
Yep.
But you look at Jeremy, when you're doing your trading, you typically aren't buying anything that's in downtrends, right? Like if it's a hard downtrend for the last year, are you buying those stocks? Are you trying to call a bottom on any of your trading?
I've tried to call bottoms. I'm not the greatest at it.
We all do it.
Yeah, we all do it. When I do, though, man, what I generally try to do is I accumulate, and meaning I take the smallest bite-sized chunks, like Zoom as an example, because I use Zoom. I think a lot of people use Zoom. It was in like a power downtrend for a while. Yeah. And I was literally buying like 3 or 4 shares a week, like at whatever price, super small size to accumulate. Now I got like 75 shares and I'm up a little bit on it because it's taking its time. So if the stock's in a downtrend,
Kathy style.
Yeah, it's Kathy style, but with a lot less money. But if I do, I have to know. I have to know how the company works, right? So like Hall of Fame would not be one of those examples, but like Teladoc or Zoom or companies that I have a general idea of how they make money and it makes relative sense that they should go higher in time. Slow, just accumulate if you can.
What about Docs? Have you done any research on Docs, DOCS?
No, what is this one?
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it's kind of the LinkedIn for doctors.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
nice ticker symbol.
Yeah, Lisa had supposedly had a chance to get in pre-IPO. I don't know what happened. We got in post-IPO.
She's such a star.
Hey, wait. I have a question. Why can't LinkedIn be the LinkedIn for doctors? Why do they need their own LinkedIn?
Spencer, too much logic. Too much logic.
Yeah, this market doesn't like logic.
Get this logic.
Take your logic and throw that hat away. This market doesn't trade on logic.
Let's create a LinkedIn for traders. What do you think about that?
Yeah. It's called stock. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, Jerremy Newsome is from reallifetrading.com. Someone just said Jeremy is a chart grandmaster. Joseph in the chat just dropped that in there. Jeremy, we appreciate you coming on as always. The link to his site, his Twitter, both in the description of this video on YouTube. Jeremy, a pleasure as always. You keep doing the beard thing, man. And
thanks, brother.
Yeah, you're putting me to
appreciate
shame.
you guys. You guys are amazing.
Yeah, Spencer, you got to start growing your beard more.
I can't get it like that. You don't understand how hard that is. That takes so much time.
ATV is getting slammed. Obviously, it's getting slammed for its own reasons, but the take two. But Dennis, here's an interesting question from RAG, and I think I know what your response is going to be. Would you buy Clorox for the yield?
No, not yet. I would be interested in the yield though, but I mean, it's still not a great yielding stock. You know, like
a little better today.
Well, I think it's. I don't know if mine adjusts on the fly, but I got it at 2.89%.
Yeah, it does. That's not adjusted.
It's not adjusted.
It's gonna be like 4%,
but it might be 3. No, I think it's only down 11%. It might be 3. I feel like it is adjusted, but maybe
You know why I wouldn't? Because I mean, and this is just pure conjecture and speculation, but I mean, if this keeps going on, extended quarters, and they want to start saving some cash, what are they going to, I mean, I don't think they probably have ever cut the dividend, but that would be.
We're not even in the realm of that, though. Like, I mean, they're going to make $5.50. So, okay, this is not a story where the Clorox is in trouble. This is not that story. This is a story where the margins are getting squeezed and their sales are coming down. It's not a disaster where you're not going to see Clorox at $100. So there will be a time to buy Clorox on a fundamental basis. My fundamental hat looks at Clorox and thinks yeah, I'd like to stick that back in my long-term portfolio. But right now, they just reported a disaster quarter. I think I still have the potential that it might get cheaper. So I just don't think I need to hurry into this one. But this isn't a story like an AT&T or, or General Electric where we've got company fundamentals failing and nobody's buying bleach anymore. So, I mean, their products are solid. It's just obviously we're not stocking up on some of that stuff. You'll see it start to stabilize. You'll see the cost pressures of their input costs start to come down probably in the next quarter or two. And then, maybe a strike, but I don't think you need to hurry and buy Clorox today. I might be wrong. Maybe it just bounces back because it is a big move for Clorox. I wouldn't want to short it down 20.
No.
So
Are you not seeing anything out there, Don? You're not seeing because there's someone out there. Obviously, there's always buyers and sellers, but there's a bid out there somewhere around 160. I mean,
well, it's a big number. I mean, I didn't go and look at my book, but I
mean, not the
it's,
book. That's so far
it's
away.
down $20. Some people are coming in saying, "Look, I want some Clorox in my long-term portfolio." If you came in and bought Clorox at 161 in your long-term portfolio, do you think you make money if you look at it 5 years from now? Yeah, I think you do. So, I mean, I guess it depends on your time horizon. If your time horizon's 5 years out, maybe you're just buying when, there's the blood in the streets, like Karen Feinerman says. I mean, I mean, to a certain extent, that's not a bad strategy if your investment time horizon's a long time. Mine isn't that long. And sometimes it is. I do have some stocks I've had in there for, like I said, for decades. But it's also timing when you get in, and I'm still a market timer, and I still want to try to get the best possible price available. In some cases, they do bounce right back. Maybe Clorox is going to bounce back to 165, 166 because it was a complete overshoot.
Quickly,
that's completely possible. Yeah. But it's also possible to continue to leak. I think it's more of a coin flip at 161. That's why I don't see an edge here. I don't see I'm coming to a big level. So I just kind of, probably just don't trade it today.
The problem is, people see what happened to Square yesterday, but for every Square, there's 50,000 times where it doesn't do that, right? It doesn't reverse on that.
Very rare to see that.
Right.
Very rare to see a stock trade down $15 in the pre-market and open green. You know who helped Square yesterday?
CFO.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that helped, but also Jim Cramer helped.
Did he?
Because he came on CNBC at 9:15, and look at the time. Bring up Square from yesterday. This is how influential Cramer is. But I heard him say it, and he's like, Square was down $3. He's like, this is a great deal for them. It should be green. And it started blasting off, and it's not a coincidence that it started taking off in the pre-market just after 9:15. You can see right there, the stock is showing no life, and right around 9:15, it starts to show life. And who said maybe there was CFO commentary coincidentally at that time? But I was watching this tape, and when Cramer was starting to talk positively about Square, people were getting interested. And sometimes a stock just wants somebody of, significance, who Jim Cramer is. He's very influential in the stock market world, to give an opinion. Sometimes it's mixed, and people are like, I don't know what to think about this deal. Cramer comes on and says, you know what? No, I like this deal. This is a good deal. That, if a stock has no direction, it can't figure out, it's kind of bearish, but all of a sudden somebody that's very influential like Jim Cramer comes out and says something bullish, it can move the price. So it didn't hurt, that Jim Cramer. Now, I'm not saying he caused the entire rally, but I think he might have kickstarted to a certain extent. So Joel's put little arrows there right around when the Cramer commentary started.
And I don't. I remember when we were talking about it, it was trading like here. Well, here's 8:00, right? It was trading 234, 235. Maybe it started to bump up a little bit. And I said, on a day like this, when you have a deal, a lot of people are looking at the closing price, right? So the closing price from Friday was 47.26, right? You opened up just above that close after the big run up. You only came down 25 cents for that. I thought when we were looking at it 234, 235, I thought, hey, if you picked up a long, maybe dump it at the close. I had no idea it would go up another.
No, nobody did.
$33, big volume. Backed off a little bit. I'd say you better get some follow through that 288 today, or even close green today, because I think a lot of people got smoked, I don't know if they sold out on the way down, but definitely let's just keep an eye on that. I'm going to forget about that 80.88. I'm going to look at it, focus on the 72.38 close.
I want to get your thoughts real fast before you go on Rocket, Dennis. I got Joel's thoughts already, but your thoughts on the Rocket headline from yesterday that they're getting into solar panels.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what the company wants, a reason. Like, I mean, it's been fundamentally cheap for a while. It's still cheap at 17 bucks. Cheap stocks just sometimes stay cheap or even get cheaper. I've said for a while, I thought that, maybe if they put a dividend in, that could show it life. Coincidentally, Micron actually put a dividend in yesterday for the first time. But, so they're trying to do some other things. I mean, they know, Rocket has been a cash cow here for a while, but they've benefited from a perfect environment too. With obviously interest rates as low as they are and everybody, housing market as hot as it is, RKT has been the beneficiary of that. So, they're trying to expand out and do some other things. I think it's a good thing. Would I want to own Rocket? Maybe, maybe at these prices. It doesn't look bad on the chart. It had a nice breakout yesterday. The only thing I don't love is that it got the whole pop and then gave it all back. It's like, man, there's so much overhead supply. That's what it's telling you. When you have a stock that's popping, forget about fundamentals for a second. When you have a stock that's in a clear downtrend and it pops and immediately sells, that's the overhead supply. That's the people that are like, please give me my money back, that are quick to hit the sell button on any rally. So you have to get through that. You have to get up and through those people to stop the selling. Because you get to 19 on this, we have a whole bunch of bag holders from 19, a whole bunch of bag holders from 20, a whole bunch of bag holders from 21. And it's so tough. And that's why Jerremy Newsome such a good trader. Because stocks and downtrends, he realizes the bag holder part of it all, where it's tough for those stocks to really get a kickstarted. They need something bigger. I mean, this is a good headline. The company's fundamentally cheap. But, we've even seen, Reddit trying to push this stock for a while, and it can't get a kickstarted. So I don't know what kickstarts this. Part of me likes the support, great support at 16 to 17. So you know where your out is. Even if you use the double bottom from 2 days ago, 17.19 to 17.23, you're only risking yourself 50 cents. It's not a bad setup. But just because they faded it so quickly yesterday makes me just skeptical.
Pair of lows at 17.20. Keep an eye on that. All right, I'm going to hop over to premarketprep.com, cover a lot of issues we missed today. Spencer, I'll see you at 3:30.
Dennis, see you tomorrow. Quick programming note. Somebody asked about Marcus. Marcus emailed me back yesterday. Finally, he will be back on the show. I promise. He emailed me and he told me he just got back from this crazy road trip. He said he drove 4,500 miles in July and he just got back. He said 2 days ago. So he'll be back on the show. I don't know when, but I promise he'll be back, and we'll talk about Ride when that happens. Okay, real quick, what I'm going to do is I do have my next guest here, Dan Weiskopf. He is the co-portfolio manager of the Blockchain ETF, ticker BLOK. Before I bring Dan on, though, I just want to play a quick commercial. Yeah, look at us, guys. We got commercials now. That's how we roll here.
Do you want to conquer market volatility? Visit VantagePointForecast.com and find out how Vantage Point's AI technology can forecast stock market trends up to 72 hours in advance with incredible accuracy. Vantage Point's patented technology analyzes huge quantities of global data in seconds, so you can finally stop guessing what's going to happen next. Check out VantagePointForecast.com and experience Vantage Point for free. Learn how successful traders generate their wealth. Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors. Past results do not guarantee future performance.
Look at us coming a long way. All right, let's bring on my next guest, Dan Weiskopf. This guy, as I said, is the co-PM of the Blockchain ETF. He's also the lead strategist lead ETF strategist at ETF Think Tank, and he is at Toroso Investments. Joining me now, Dan. Good morning. It is a pleasure to talk to you. I'm a big fan, at least of your thoughts on Twitter.
Well, thanks very much, Spencer. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm a big fan of Benzinga as well.
Great. We can all be big fans of each other. I want to start macro here, and then we'll get specific. But for those of you who don't know, this is going to end up being a record year for ETFs in terms of inflows. Last year, about $480 billion flew of inflows of money went into ETFs for all of last year. And we almost topped that in just the first half of this year. So it's going to be a record year in terms of money flowing into ETFs. Dan, why do you think that is?
Well, the ETFs give very easy access, wonderful liquidity, and I think a lot of advisors and institutions are figuring it out that they can be specific and target these different access points and know what they own, and it's less risky. I always talk about how structure matters, and people are finally getting it.
Actually, that's funny you mentioned that, because for those who don't follow Dan on Twitter, basically every tweet is prefaced with the phrase "structure matters." What is that? Explain that.
Yeah, my colleagues tease me about it actually. So structure matters in the ETF side is all about security selection, right? You got to look under the hood. You got to know what you own. There's ETFs, there's ETNs, there's commodities. You got to know the structure. Now, the other part of it is structure matters in how you live your life, and it's a lifestyle. So
okay,
it can be whatever you want it to be.
Okay, that's a great way of putting it. All right, structure matters. The blockchain ETF, I got the chart up on the screen here. BLOK. Something I've not really understood. Maybe you can help me understand this, Dan. Is why would I want to own all these crypto mining companies? Mara, et cetera, MicroStrategy. Why would I want to own them? Why wouldn't I just want to own Bitcoin?
Well, you could own both. We happen to be about 70% correlated right now to the price of Bitcoin. That's on purpose. The key part about BLOK is it's actively managed. So we're meeting with management. You mentioned Mara, and I just did an interview with Fred Thiel yesterday, and I'm doing another interview with Michael Saylor. Today actually. The whole premise behind BLOK is we know the companies, right? So it's just a pure play on active management, and we think that blockchain may end up becoming even more important than Bitcoin, but they're interrelated.
You're right. And I should mention, BLOK is not the only blockchain focused ETF, though it is the largest by a mile in terms of assets. Also, the best performing of the group this year. Is that due to the active or management or what?
Well, I think I will take a little bit of a bow with Mike Venuto that it is because it's
Okay.
active, right? I'd also highlight that really we are the only active of size. There was just recently launched another active, but it's unproven, right? You can't build a 3.5-year track record unless you've been around for 3.5 years. That's just math.
That checks out. Yep, math checks out there. Okay, can you speak a little bit more about the strategy behind BLOK? You've
Sure.
got miners in there, but you've got Square, PayPal, Nvidia's a top holding, right? Coinbase, of course. What is Voyager? A lot of familiar names to us here. On our show, but what is the strategy behind the fund besides just getting exposure to blockchain?
Yeah, it's not random, is my point. So currently we're about 23% exposed to the miners, and we're probably going to look to increase that as they build out more scale. Mara, as you mentioned, which is one of our top holdings, just made two key announcements, right? They added more miners and they produced more Bitcoin. And they had a sequential increase of about 66% month over month, June to July, as a result of what was happening out of China, right? Beyond that, we also have about a third exposure to platforms, to your point, like Square, PayPal, Coinbase, Voyager. And we try not to get overexposed to any one name. We don't want to be hostage to any one great company's success, or worse, find a failure, right, that takes us down. So we're managing our exposure. There are roughly 200 companies that we're looking at any given point. And because we're active managers, we're going to be moving things around a bit to try and generate alpha.
Is one of those companies Robinhood?
Robinhood is not one of those companies, except that it is in the universe. Don't get me wrong, but we do not own Robinhood. We, I think, appropriately avoided that.
I'm curious, based on the conversations that you're having, whether it's with, advisors or executives, what is the general feeling out there right now with regards to crypto markets at large? Ethereum is just it's on like an all-time record winning streak right now, and the update is, I guess, supposed to happen tomorrow. Bitcoin's been a little bit more volatile of late. What is the general mood out there that you're seeing? Obviously, it's bullish, but to what extent?
Well, you say it's obvious that it's bullish. If you ask that question, I would say 2 weeks ago, it wasn't so obvious that it was bullish, right?
Fair enough.
It's amazing. It's amazing how things switch up and down, right? But it is bullish. I think it's in part bullish because what's going on in China right now, and it looks like there's, my fingers across, less selling pressure out of there at this point. So maybe we can see a lift. And in that, specifically speaking about Bitcoin, Ethereum's different. There seems to be a little bit more of a bullishness now in Ethereum. And the interesting part about Ethereum is that there's more mining taking place in Ethereum these days, right? And so maybe NFTs have started to take off again, right? And beyond that, there's huge flows into venture capital in the way of the blockchain. So when you talk about optimism, I think the venture capitalists are very optimistic about blockchain.
Do you have thoughts on specific? Can I ask you about specific cryptos, or do you have thoughts? Do you follow the individual cryptos, or not really? You're more on the equity side.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're really focused on Bitcoin mostly.
Okay.
We're trying to capture some Ethereum exposure wherever appropriate.
Yeah.
We cannot, to your question, we cannot own the cryptos directly, but as an example, we get our exposure through the miners, through a company like MicroStrategy, and a little bit of GBTC as well.
Yeah. On that note, do you think we will ever see a Bitcoin ETF here in the U.S.?
Great question. And selfishly, I'm not looking forward to having the launch occur.
Right.
But beyond that, I would say yes. I think in 2022, it's more than likely we're prepared for that. And let's be honest, it's probably going to be very positive when it occurs in terms of the price. And then the question becomes: is it 1, 2, 5, or 12? Right? Because how do they make the approval? We'll see.
And I wonder if you have thoughts on there's been a lot. I feel like there's been a lot of M&A in the space in the last couple of weeks. You had the Square deal yesterday. There was a MasterCard deal. There was an ATM deal announced yesterday or over the weekend as well. It feels like M&A is picking up, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's just my feeling, but it seems like M&A is picking up the last couple of weeks in crypto. Do you get that sense as well?
Well, the Square deal makes a lot of sense, right? Because actually, the way their multiples are, the two companies, they can potentially make it accretive, right? And the stock prices have moved in tandem together, right? So since the culture seemed to make sense, I think that deal makes some sense. In the mining side, it's going to be very unique when there's an M&A deal, because what do you get when a miner buys another miner? Well, you get equipment. Maybe if you're a hoster, there's some reasons for consolidations. We're seeing that happen, like a host company merging with the capital solution, right? And beyond that, who knows, right? I could see a lot of M&A taking place because this area of the market needs capital, right?
And then Dan, one more before I let you go. Who are the types of investors that you're talking to? Obviously, you've got an equity ETF, so it's not like that. It's not that hard to sell not as hard to sell as like Bitcoin would be, right? But is there interest among institutions? Is it increasing? Is it decreasing? Are high net worth individuals and advisors more interested? Are they less interested? Do they still not know what the hell this stuff is? What is? I'm curious about like who you're talking to about, like who has interest in this ETF and this space in general.
Well, I'll speak to specifically the ETF,
Yeah.
and then I'll touch on the space in general. We work with a lot of financial advisors, and then candidly, I think it's good to talk to the PM. So that advisor can talk to me and understand what's happening in the marketplace. That's, I think, of huge value. Secondly, I think from a positioning standpoint, this is a growth solution, unequivocally. It's all about disruption, right? It's a global investment fund, right? So it fits neatly in a portfolio that's targeting growth and disruption, whether it's a sector portfolio or just frankly an advisor is trying to add value with a unique, interesting solution. Beyond that, I think family offices have to be looking at it as well, right? Because yeah, you could own Bitcoin directly or Ethereum directly, or you can speculate around all the coins. But with us, you actually get, as a family office, an understanding about what's happening in the marketplace. We're headed to North Carolina to visit some mines. Just came back from Texas, let's see, 2 weeks ago. The fact that we're, ground up, I think matters.
So, well, I guess my question was like specifically in the last year or so, how has interest changed amongst institutional investors? That interest in block change?
It's accelerated unequivocally, and you can see it in our flows. And the questions are actually getting more intelligent. There's no question that institutional buying is coming into the space. Bitcoin, is trading, trillions of dollars, right? So there's a reason.
All right, I guess that answers that. Dan Weiskopf is the co-portfolio manager of the Blockchain ETF. Ticker is charts up on the screen. BLOK is also the lead ETF strategist at ETF Think Tank. Dan, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Spencer.
On again soon. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
All right.
Have a good one. Bye.
All right. It is 9:16, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that conversation. I know I did. And great. So smash the like, do all that good stuff. Thank you very much to Dan Weiskopf for joining me this morning. And seriously, if you guys haven't been following, flows into ETFs are like literally off the charts this year. It is insane. We talk about, people just being net buyers, and Tina, right? There is no alternative. The money is, and the cash on the sidelines that Jerremy mentioned, the money is like literally pouring into equity ETFs this year. It is madness. So a lot of it probably coming from mutual funds. So it's not like a net buying thing, but still a lot of flows into ETFs, which could help explain why we're basically at all-time highs here in the broad market. Okay, it is 9:17. Here is the plan for the rest of the day. We, of course, have David Green live trading at the open. He'll hop on at like 9:25, and he'll go until about 11 o'clock. That'll be followed by SPACs Attack. Today they're talking with Matt Higgins, frequent, let's see, Matt Higgins, longtime friend of the show. I think it's fair to say that, from Omnichannel Acquisition Corp. He'll be on at 11:15 today. We've got the Power Hour with Ripster. If you all watch that show, Ripster will be on the Power Hour today at like 12:45. Is that fair to say? Somewhere in that ballpark. 12:45. That'll be followed by Get Technical with Neil Hamilton. The BZ Crypto Show at 2. Biotech Buzz at 2:30. We've got a new car video we are premiering at 3 o'clock. The At the Close Show with Joel and I at 3:30. Money Mitch at 4. Cannabis Insider at 4:30. Ryan Rosbiani on at 5. We've got a Benzinga Pro webinar tonight at 6, and then Trading Nomadic at 7 p.m. All this is on our Twitter account, the schedule, twitter.com/Benzinga, where we posted the schedule every day. So we are going live from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. today. 13 straight hours of live stuff. Guys, by the way, if you missed Robert Roy this morning, his new time is Tuesdays at 7 a.m. So Robert Roy was already on. If you missed him, check out that stream right here on our channel. Okay, I know there's a few other like housekeeping things I had, and I don't remember what they were. We didn't even mention Lee. Guys, we didn't talk about Lee Auto. I wanted to. We ran out of time. Lee had a very big offering last night. Did you guys see that? Stock is only down a little bit here this morning, but they did 100 million share offering, sold to all of us. Right? They announced good July production numbers and sales numbers. Blah blah blah. Next day, boom, offering. Good luck in this one. That was one on my list. What else did I have on my list? Oh, there was a bunch of earnings we didn't get to. I know. We didn't get to Under Armour. We didn't get to Eli Lilly. We didn't really get to Take-Two that much. Philip, we had a few oil stocks report this morning. So amidst all the volatility there, we had BP and Phillips 66 and Sunoco all report. Tonight, we do have Activision Blizzard and Lyft. Those are kind of the two big reports on my radar. We will cover all these stocks and more throughout the day, obviously, on our channel. If there's anything you missed, I apologize. We do our best to cover as many stocks as we can from the chat. Isn't always time, especially on days where with a lot of news. Let me catch up. Yes, third wave, exactly right. We go all day, every day. Not every day, not all day on the weekends, but all day, Monday through Friday, for sure. That's the plan. Okay, I think I'm going to hop. Oh, and we did figure out, if you missed it, we were having some problems the past few days. We did figure out the redirect situation on YouTube. So this stream will end, and it will redirect you to David Green live trading at the open. David Green is great. If you drop a ticker on the chart in the chat, he will look at it. He will give you his ideas about an entry or an exit for today, and what he likes or doesn't like about that stock. Somebody asked about what the SPOOS is. That's just the S&P 500 futures. It's just an old school saying. For the SPOOS, here is a chart of the SPY this morning. So we are trading down a little bit, but yeah, overall kind of a quiet overnight, kind of a round trip recession. I mean, we still are up overnight, but down a little bit in the last hour or so in the pre-market session. Okay, I think I should wrap because David Green is hopping on, and unless we have one, let me check if we have one more video. Do I want to air? Do we have a crypto update? I don't think we have a crypto update ready, so we'll air that a little bit later. Okay, that's going to be it for me. Guys, any feedback, as always, just email us, right? Send us emails. We love emails. Where's the email? There it is. shows@benzinga.com. We love emails. Seriously. Good, bad, indifferent. We don't care. Well, I mean, we do care. But we like all of it. shows@benzinga.com. Also, want to recommend, again, if you have not checked out Benzinga Pro, you can get a free 2-week trial, pro.benzinga.com. If you have your own platform, there's AB behind me. You have your own platform, your own audience. You want to get paid to become a Benzinga affiliate, you can do that. The link is on the screen at the bottom. It's benzinga.partnerstack.com. You can get paid. Earn 30% for every Benzinga Pro subscription you send our way. Again, benzinga.partnerstack.com, pro.benzinga.com for a free 2-week trial. If you haven't, do me a solid, drop me a like. I would appreciate it. If you want to hit subscribe, that would make my day as well. How many likes how many likes we at today? 324. Can we get to 400 is the question. Can we get to 4? Let's make that the goal in the next minute, to get to 400 likes. And that's them starting next door, I think, on David Green. So they're going to go. I'm going to hop. Everyone, good luck at the Open. Stay green, stay filled. David Green coming up live in a moment.